Good evening, everybody. My name is Lee Downey. I'm the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Richmond in the areas of economic development and planning. I want to, first of all, welcome you here tonight. Thank you for being here. We're glad that people showed up to talk about the market and the changes that are about to happen. This is, what we want to do tonight is show you the plan that we will begin moving forward rapidly to get through the final process and get construction underway. And I think it's a great time for the change like this to be happening, the improvements to be happening. You know, as many of you may have known, just for example, the accolades that Richmond's receiving. Yesterday, we were named one of the top hottest housing markets in the U.S. for 2016. We were fourth on that list, right behind Seattle, Denver, and Dallas. And Richmond was number 4 on that list. I was just made aware today that National Geographic named Richmond as one of the world's food cities, and that's in the world, one of the food cities on that accolade list. We continue to get these acknowledgments of the progress, the momentum, the change, the wonderful things that are happening in the city. And I think this, as we move forward, is just one more visible evidence of that forward momentum that we see in the city. So what I want to do tonight is we want to go through this with you, but before we do that, I want to bring up the person that has kind of given us guidance and has really put the strength behind these positive forward changes, these improvements we're seeing, and I'd like Mayor Dwight Jones to come up and introduce us.
And I don't have a long speech or presentation, but I did want to come tonight because I've been very interested in the progress in this area. I know many of the merchants down here personally, and we've been watching and waiting for a long time, and you guys have been extremely patient. I know that we've been in these conversations since 2011, and we come tonight to this final moment of public engagement. I think that it's important for you to know that we've been working with certain issues such as waste management, parking, and the operation of the market on a daily basis, and I think that we are able to tell you tonight that most of these things have been worked out, and we've put together a presentation tonight that I think that you will be very pleased with, and we hope that it will meet your expectations because I think that it's very good. We are continuing to work on this final concept. This plan will be presented to the Urban Design Committee, then Planning, and we'll also present you with a timeline tonight. But I'm excited about what I think you're getting ready to see, excited about the fact that we're ready to get something going down here that I think we've been all waiting for a long time. So thank you so much for coming out tonight and being a part of this public engagement process, and we hope that we can leave here tonight on the same page, on one accord, knowing that we're going to get this thing done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. What I'd like to do now to kind of kick the meeting off is to show a very short video that will talk about where we're moving with this project and what has inspired this project along the way. And after we watch the video, then we'll bring some other representatives up to talk about the timeline, what we can expect, what we're doing, what you'll see, and how we got there. So to kick this off, I would like to get whoever can start the video to get that rolling. So what we'd like to do now that you've gotten a little glimpse at, the design and the concept, what we'd like to do is, next I'll ask Jeannie Welliver to come up and talk us through the timeline for what got us here, the timeline for moving forward, and that will also be followed by a presentation about the design concept and the elements of the design concept and how the market can work. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Jeannie Welliver to talk about the next steps.
Thanks again. Excuse me. Thanks again for being here, and I recognize a lot of faces. You've been down this road with us for quite a while. For those of you that are new to this conversation, could you back up one slide? We started this process without a pen to paper. We started it with images around the world that inspired us, what we would like to see, activities, programming, spaces, places, intimate moments, landscaping, water features. We left it as an open canvas when we first started these community collaborative meetings. And we listened to you, and then we came back with a schematic design and got your reaction and came back with another design, kind of a final concept. You guys embraced it, and then, next slide, we took it to after this process, which was the stakeholder sessions, business and neighborhood meetings, community workshops, the design team kickoff, coordination with fire department, public utilities, public works. We had more community gatherings in the third meeting, and then we went to UDC and the Planning Commission. That was kind of the road we went last time. And they said, sure, this conceptual approval is great, and we love the fact that the people are behind it, but you have to accomplish a few things before we can advance to tonight. A couple of them, as the mayor had mentioned, was the commercial trash collection of Shaka Bottom. As Michael Wynn is in the room, I want to personally thank him for the efforts he's done to assist the city in getting the immediate area to support commercial trash collection. So if you've noticed, Walnut Alley is a lot cleaner than it ever has been, which is one of our issues that we had to deal with. We had to present a parking plan, which we were packaging tomorrow morning, sending it on to UDC tomorrow. And we had to come up with an operation and maintenance plan for the market. We did an RFP for the future operation and management of the market, and we're looking at that now. We've been interviewing firms. Can't go into details about it so much because it's a procurement process, but we're actively seeking that. There was a host of other things that we had to do before we could go back to UDC and Planning Commission. We also tweaked the design based on some comments that we've received, and we want, Bert and Tim from Baskerville will walk us through just the tweaks. It's the same presentation as you've seen before with some tweaks, and also incorporated the urban designs comments as well. So after tonight, we submit to the UDC tomorrow morning, and that's the deadline tomorrow for a UDC presentation the first Thursday in February at 10 o'clock, City Hall, 5th floor. If any of you can come, that would be wonderful. They will reach out to you like any typical project to garner your reaction. So that happens tomorrow. UDC presentation always happens first, followed by the Planning Commission. That's the City Planning Commission presentation in February. You have to go through those two processes in order to be awarded a permit and make it a real project. It's just policy and regulation, but we are going for final approval for UDC and Planning Commission. We've already started to finalize the construction documents as we speak. So the stormwater is the most complicated. We're tying into the existing stormwater that we spent about $22 million on in 2007. We're using that infrastructure, capitalizing upon it, and building our stormwater to support this project. And Drew Gould is with Timmons, and he is in the room tonight for specific questions. We will be advertising the bid, and then immediately going into construction, awarding a contract. This is realistically aggressive, and we're being even more proactively aggressive. One thing that will reduce the construction period that we've added back and forth, and thank you for your patience, is whether we underground transformers and utilities, Dominion Power, in the bottom, in this immediate area or not. We've gone back and forth. We've looked at it from many different ways. We're moving forward with not. Dominion would prefer, and they've pretty much given us a directive, not to underground transformers. Saves us money. So we've looked at the overhead utilities with a different eye, making them more aesthetically pleasing, and we're working with Dominion, and we've got some solutions built in that we want to present to you tonight on how to deal with more aesthetically appealing overhead utilities. However, the new trees, the large format trees, will help disguise those as well from an at-grade perspective. So it's still a great project. It will cost us less. It will shorten the duration of the construction impact as well. So let's go to the next slide, and I believe I'll pass it off to Bert Pinnock. Baskerville is the lead architect on the project, and Bert and Tim have led the design.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out. This is anything worth doing is certainly worth doing well and worth waiting for. So let's stay at it, and we're going to get this done. I want to thank the City of Richmond for sure. I want to thank the mayor, and thank Jeannie Weller, and all the people that have sort of been committed to this and have continued to push us forward. So this is going to be short. We won't be here till 8 o'clock, I don't think, unless you have very compelling questions. But I just want to go through sort of a little bit of the framework of how we started this. Again, looking at some of the main transportation and circulation features that affect this site. The Capitol Trail, which will come through the market to get to the terminus at this location, Main Street Station. GRTC, Bus Rapid Transit, and the Canal Walk and the Slave Trail, and all of these sort of pedestrian features that will come through the market. So it was very important to us, as Gene said, looking at all the precedents, that we sort of address something that feels right. You go to the next slide. I did want to talk for a second about what the parking will look like during construction, after construction. So in the orange circle is our site of Main Street, the existing 17th Street Market area, and then the other 5 most local off-street parking opportunities. We won't play the video again, but we can come back to that later if you'd like. But what does it look like? It's the next slide. So a lot of the comments that we were responding to from the Urban Design Committee and the Planning Commission involved things like the actual placement of our trees, sort of the treatment of the paved surfaces, the actual representation of the historic right-of-way of 17th Street, both east and west 17th Streets, and a lot of those things. So what you see at the bottom is the dining area that's approximately 22 feet off the face of the building, and then it's defined by a travel lane. So the travel lane is for service, for emergency access, or for those moments when vehicles will be on the plaza, and it's defined by a very gentle series of bollards. After that, the center of the square, all of the trees and underplanted areas are moved into the sort of center, as you saw in the video, to create a very intimate, hopefully intimate, and sort of tight space, but also in the very center, still leaving open the opportunity for the things that you saw. The fountain is a pop jet fountain and will be activated and not both at night and during the day. But it also will allow for anything we can think of. That's why it's also very important to understand who our operator might be and our manager of the market, so that those can be very much coordinated. I don't know if you all were here at the beginning, but if you remember, we worked very closely and long with Project for Public Spaces and just getting some of that information from you folks as to what it is that we want to do here. Have a seat. And then moving on up the sheet to the West 17th Street, the dining zone there becomes about 12 feet, just acknowledging that there's a difference between the dimensions. The entire site is about the size of a football field. It's a little bit larger. 150 feet by 325 feet, more or less, building to building, curb to curb. That's kind of a lot of area. So how do we, again, from what you see today, create something that we will all be very proud of? Bike racks, benches, trash and recycling. We have an approach of actually creating movable chairs. I think there were a lot of comments about how do we get out of the sun. And we've taken that approach of, if we provide the seating that you can then position as you like in situations that you want, it'll begin to form itself. Public art, we still will be working through that with our management team and Public Art Commission going forward. You saw in the video something that represented, that provides that icon of the market. Yeah, next. So I just want to then show a few of the things that have been presented previously to the Urban Design Committee, the Plan Commission, to our project team. The space wants to be as classic as possible in terms of how it relates to our existing city fabric. So the light fixtures that you see will be the standard that we see, because that's what we know, that's what we recognize, and that's what works. We'll also, though, provide that lighting that you don't see, the uplighting for the landscape, that lighting for the seating areas that's low. The string lights are a temporary or a non-permanent feature. We'll provide the infrastructure so that pretty much you can hang whatever you like. Next. Again, very simple, very classic pieces of landscape furniture. The benches will be 3-armed, 8-foot long benches. There are about a dozen or so that we have planned in the space, and then all the rest of the seating is basically loose cafe tables and chairs. We'll provide a gas connection for seasonal fire pits or whatever the operator managers need for their multiple events and festivals that'll be held in the space. Water for, well, you, me, and all the other pets. And the trash and recycling. So all those things that we want in public spaces that just need to be there to make it function. And I think this is is it one more? Yeah, okay. Bollards, bike racks. And that's really it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this space at this point. And there's a mic right back there, so if we could get everybody to use the mic, that way.
Hi, I'm Paul DiPasquale, former Urban Design Committee, current Public Art Commission. And I'm just curious if there was any discussion about the possibility of keeping and maintaining the cut granite blocks that are in the street currently, if that
Yeah.
could be.
Yes, so basically, all of the, Jim, if I could get you to back up to, no, that's fine, I'm sorry. So all of the granite in the street right-of-ways is all of the existing material. And if you'll notice that there's a lot of patched areas, so we'll do as much as we can with the existing material, and then we will match it in filling out the rest of it. So the whole idea, that this project started by the idea of we're going to create a tapestry from building face to building face that is level, so that we can use this in many different ways. And that involved raising those two streets by 6 to 8 inches across the site, but using the material that's there.
I was only going to elaborate on this question.
Oh,
That material is in such poor condition that we have to do a reset anyway. So filling it with dirt and resetting it doesn't take any more time. That material has to be reset, as you've noticed. But he does have travel lanes through here that are cobbles. They're just identifiable for safety reasons, but it's still cobblestone. Does that answer the question?
Are you keeping
The fishtail? Yes, sir.
Yes.
All the originals.
All the originals.
hi. I was just wondering if this is my first, I only heard about this today. I come back and forth between Italy and here. And I was just wondering if everything's already set, how you're doing it, or if I noticed that you showed a lot of different markets and things that you want to do. So are you guys still trying to form what you're doing, or you have already decided everything?
So I'll say it this way, the physical space of what we're doing is set. The programming space, the things that will happen in this space throughout the year and beyond are more in the purview of the manager and operator once that team is defined. So I showed, people doing yoga or a carousel. So to say that none of those things are precluded,
Okay.
but basically what you see is the project that is as it's set.
Because if you would be interested, I have I'm an American citizen. I graduated from VCU in fine arts, but I've been in Italy for about 23 years. I go back and forth. And there's a lot of Italians that ask me about starting a sisterhood between the Tuscany and Virginia. And I've worked on the project a bit, so maybe if later you're interested, I know a lot of Italians would love to, they're trying to start to sell products here and everything else, so maybe you could consider that, because in Italy there's a lot of really nice markets.
Cool.
Get your information.
Sure.
I too just got informed about it. I'm Sam Forrest. And the problem with the present situation is to have all these fixed objects in there that limit the movement. And this one also has fixed things like the trees and the benches. So that's my concern, because you limit, every time you put something fixed, you limit all the possibilities for mobile stuff, or don't put it there at all.
So, do we have other views in this? I can't remember, other perspectives? No, okay. The idea, again, we've tried to sort of work on a module of 10 feet. Yeah. And show layouts of vendor tents that are 10 by 10. So there's actually a space for 75 vendor tents in any number of configurations, as I showed. The idea that we can have, again, as I say, a carousel or a volleyball court or any number of things, or just an open festival. So the trees are really not as cumbersome or interfering with the space as you might think. It's pretty flexible. As I said, it's the size of a football field, and I believe we have about 28 trees.
Hey, Bert.
Hi, Mr. Thornton.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
This plan shows a little bit more detail. Can you speak a little bit more about the restaurant component? Because I think that's a fundamental part of this project, is what
Sure.
I kind of understood. Are they going, first of all, I guess, do you have buy-in from the restaurants that are there currently to have outdoor dining? And how is that going to be enclosed based on ABC laws and all that good stuff? But yeah, just articulate on that if you could.
Sure. So basically, we'll be expanding on the sidewalk guidelines that have already been established to tailor them for this space. But as you know, so ABC will require barriers. But if you saw in the video, the idea of large planters or other sawhorse with planters, we will set up a standard. And we've given, when I talk about the 22 feet or the 12 feet, that's the area that is allocated for each side of the street to then come in to be outdoor dining. So one of the things we do is use, if you can see the lower drive lane edge and the little dots or bollards, that's the edge of where they can put outdoor dining in that direction. And the same thing on the other side. It's just sort of shorter. And then we will also provide standards for seating and other elements that will exist out in the public space. Did that answer your question? Good.
I want to expand on the process of discussion with the vendors. We looked at this with ABC for many exercises, and one thing we actually looked at as well was putting outdoor dining in the center. And it would have to be licensed by one of the vendors. Only one of the restaurateurs could take that license according to our ABC laws. Because we looked at many different ways, and we've talked to most of the restaurateurs. Some weren't in the position to bounce into the middle and have two sets of staff to do that. They don't have to capitalize upon this opportunity of outdoor dining, but we've shown it as if they probably did. And I think we're going to piggyback on the outdoor dining that's already set up. It's the process that's already set up. I think it's a $100 a year fee, and it allows you to expand your business onto the market because we see this as a business incentive. We want to help those businesses, but it may not be dining. There's a photography studio along the market. She may set up easels and prints and sell her wares. So we're just showing it as outdoor dining, but it's an outdoor experience of the vendor that actually occupies the space. And we have been working with them, but they're in the room. I hope they're nodding that we've been trying to solve this problem together.
Thanks.
Hey, Bert, Rick Tatnall. Actually, these questions might be more for Jeannie. The video video mentioned having a home for our legacy vendors, and I'm here representing Miss Rosa and Miss Lucille. It appears that you might have them underneath the awnings on the YMCA building. Is that confirmed?
No, it's conceptual. We're presenting it tonight. But that is, we think, a premier location. It's also that long wall that if David Napier agreed to, and it's still conceptual, it's an opportunity. You can have outdoor dining. Ms. Lucille wants to cook food. She's told me many times she'd like to expand her operation, but allows her and Rosa to have an outdoor dining experience within their marketplace as well. And it would allow White House Catering, if you wanted, to pop up onto the sidewalk and have outdoor dining too, and you could order out of a window to capitalize upon it. But we haven't gotten into that programming weeds yet, but we did recommend that that permanent legacy location move to that facade.
And that would then also include the Christians?
Yes, sir. The 3 legacy vendors that are out there today, yes, sir.
Okay. And then, so because of the change that's gone on in the decision on the undergrounding, the work and the money that's been spent to get the market where it is today and to situate both Rosa and Lucille and the Christians was a temporary fix?
Let me speak to the money spent, because I know that's a question. It's not just your question. We have spent some money to take down the sheds. The additional money we spent was just to restore the power. Every time you have a demolition, you have to cut the power off. You have to demo the power. And then we restored the power so you would have security lighting in this plaza at night. Those string lights that we put in, we're reusing them in this project. We did do a roof modification on one of the sheds so they could continue to operate. And we put some flags and some awnings that we intend to repurpose. So the only thing we did was put in electrical and string lights, and we intend to repurpose those in this project. The demolition of those sheds had to occur anyway.
Right.
And the cost to move them, Mr. Pryor moved them in the morning, and it didn't cost anything to move them.
And then there were discussions that during the sheds being brought down, that there was a consideration that the front shed with the 17th Street Farmers Market sign and the 2 bulls might possibly be kept?
The bulls are in this project. I think we've talked about the word farmer market being incorporated as a piece of art. We have more public art discussions to be had about that, but it will remain a city asset. But the bulls are in this project. They're in the video. We can repeat the video too, because some people missed it at the end, if that's okay. But I want to answer all of your questions.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I just-
Oh, no.
No, I just want to say, also, just in part of the consideration of where the legacy vendors are, we certainly want it to be, somebody mentioned, I think Lee, at the top of the meeting, the city being recognized as a food town. And now we've created, actually, hopefully, something that's going to continue to bolster that. And the idea that they are part of that, here and here, became a strong idea. And I think it strengthens both them and the idea of this space. Just want to throw that out.
Okay, and then also just to a point you made, ultimately, we're looking at the beneficiary of the efforts of Mr. Napier ultimately to allow the sisters to be there?
Well, this is a public sidewalk. We, the city, have jurisdiction over the sidewalk. We want to work in partnership with David, of course, because this is kind of his opportunity to business front on. We've talked about it in the past. The details of that, we're not going to resolve those tonight. This is conceptual for y'all's reaction. I think you know about it, but maybe you could speak to that.
Rick,
Hi, Dave.
I'll do whatever I need to do to make sure they have power and water. If they can't get to them from what they've done, come through the outside of come through my dish room, and have to position it, in a certain place. There'll be 3 stalls right up to the street, and then the 4th area will be where I will operate food onto the market, a much smaller dining area than I would have if I didn't have those things. We're basically going to split up the space of approximately 15 by 15 for each vendor, and enough power that they can cook and enough water that they can clean if they need it. I've been friends with there since I've been down here, so
Yeah,
we're going to look at it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, Jeannie, how are you? Good. I have two questions real quick.
Yes.
First of all, thank you all very much for being here. It's nice to hear movement on this, so I just want to say I appreciate that. Before we get started, one of the things that I wanted to bring up is, have you guys, and I'm sure you have, but could you elaborate on how we are going to do deliveries? What your delivery plan is?
Yes, sir.
Is that road opened up for us to be able to use for?
Yes, sir.
Great.
And that's something we need to iron out with you. One of the next steps is to go for an O&R, an ordinance request, to go before city council for road closures at whatever times works. Those are bollards that you can push down. The bollards push down. Bert added to the project drive aisles so that your so your delivery drivers would know that's the lane to stay on in case everyone doesn't take the outdoor restaurant opportunity it's defined. The safety bollards on the side help keep those delivery drivers on.
Okay.
So we don't know the hours yet. We'll work with you on that. But
Excellent.
they are droppable bollards for that very purpose.
Cool.
And we kept both lanes aligned for both sides of the street. The old plan had it down the middle. We think this is better. So this is a tweak. Same concept, but we think it works better for you. If it doesn't, let us know. But we
Okay.
think this design works better for you.
Very good. And the second question I had, and those of us who are planning on taking advantage of the outside dining opportunities and the extended sidewalks, like a lot of the vendors on the eastern side of 17th Street are, is there going to be regulation coming out from the city that dictates what look you guys want to achieve, or is it
Yes, sir.
completely up to us?
No, sir.
Okay.
We hope it has your character and your style.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have got a plan out here. You probably want something that looks conducive to, you know.
We don't want we don't want everyone to look alike.
Okay.
We want you to express yourself. Like Charlottesville Downtown Mall, they'll have like black sawhorses with a black planter and flowers. The next guy will have some other type of barricade.
Okay, so you're
We'll
leaving a
work
lot of
with
it up to us.
with designs within design standards.
Sure.
So, I mean, no offense. There's some wood platforms that were along Main Street for a long time, Castle Thunder. We're not sure that's an appropriate solution for the Shockoe Bottom. So we want to work with you, but there will be standards
Cool,
just
okay,
within
yeah.
flexibility. Is that fair?
Makes sense, makes
Okay.
sense. And the last little thing I just want to say, I just want to confirm that the area, that's going to be north of the farmer's market?
Yes, sir.
Is going to be that as parking area?
It is
Because
opened
that
up
is
back to
obviously a
parking.
concern now that it's going to be pedestrian only. How close can we get our patrons to our establishments?
Yes, sir.
In inclement weather and things of that nature?
In this plan, on January 1st, 2016, that lot was restored back to support public parking for the market and other visitors. It will remain as such in this plan. If ever you had more parking solutions in the bottom and we could expand onward, and that's what everybody wanted to do, another block, that's a future thing. But today, when we reopen, that's public parking. And it already is right now,
Okay.
right?
Great.
Yes.
I just want to make
We
sure that was
fixed
going to
that.
stay the
I'm
same.
sorry about loaning it for a while, because you needed some parking for a little while, but it's back to you.
Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. Very nice plan. My name is James Holland, and I'm one of the vendors at the market. I've been pies with Ms. Rose. I'd like to know what marketing strategy is going on, because you will have a shutdown of construction, and the vendors, this is my first year, so I don't know how it would be in March and after. So I want to know, how would you bring
May I
folks to
speak
the
that?
market?
May I speak to that?
Yes.
Just so you know, I can't speak to the procurement details, but I can tell you about our procurement process. The reason why we're hiring a market manager, it's not just for market day, it's everyday programming. If it's yoga, they're gonna market yoga. If it's this, if it's that. And most really great markets are really great spaces. Bryant Park, New York, if you want to Google one that's tremendous, has activities, it has a business manager. They treat it as an enterprise, and that's what we decided as a city to do, to treat this like a business, go out and find someone to market it. Brand new website, great marketing, billboards, print ad, whatever it is, get some professionals in to not only manage the market, but handle the marketing of the market and the awareness. And that's part of the process of this RFP, request for proposals for a new operations and marketing manager. It's heavy on marketing. And when we can release that information, you'll see the dollars designated to that effort, because totally agree with you. We definitely could use some more marketing. We helped with some branding for them. Did you see the new signs that Tim Design, but they're wonderful. They needed new branding, so we helped them out with that. They loved them. They approved them. The 3 vendors, the Christians and Rosa and Lucille. So yes, sir, I totally agree.
I have been the videographer, you know, for the market recently, and I posted some things on the internet for the sisters and Tim, and they
Right.
appreciate it. So I want to know who I could speak
Yes,
with
sir.
to continue my activities with the market as a vendor and as a photographer.
When we are able to announce that new manager, I think that's the perfect person, and economic development, our office will still help with this project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're probably, after everyone's done and we close this, we're going to run the video one more time because there were some people in the room that weren't able to see it, and I'd love for you to stay and see it if you have time because it's a great video. Maybe you didn't see something the first go around. Do you want to close out the meeting? Thursday, 8/16, the
4th and 16th. Okay, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being with us along the way, because as you see, this is the plan that we've presented before. We've tweaked it slightly to meet some issues that you brought up, to work with UDC, to work with the Planning Commission to help this go through. Like we said, we'll be submitting this starting tomorrow, starting the process rolling to get those bids awarded in April and get that construction on as soon as that award is given after that. What I do want to say is this plan is a culmination of a lot of work, a lot of input from you guys. We tried to fit in all those things we talked about tonight, the roads, the delivery, the legacy vendors, the water features and all that. It's based on the 3 public hearings we've had just like this. And correct me if I'm wrong on dates, February 4th, this will go to the UDC, and on February,
presentation at public hearing UDC.
yeah, a presentation at the public hearing at the UDC on the 4th, and then 16th, Tuesday is Planning Commission. And those are the 2 steps we need to go through, and at that point, we can have the construction documents wrapped up, get that award out, and get the ball rolling. So if you can attend those 2 meetings in support of the project, in support of what we put together with you, that's what we need, and we will get this ball rolling and keep things moving forward. So, you know, a lot of us will be around. We're going to play the video. We'll be here. We can answer some of your questions, follow up, you know, mingle around. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. We hope to see you as we move forward, and enjoy the video, and we're here. Thanks, everybody.